This is Politics as Usual. I'm Hontiveros. The 30th Southeast Asian Games about to end. Many questions, though, still about the Games and the future of Philippine sports. Our guests tonight, joining us here in the studio in this first segment of the show, former Philippine Olympic Committee President, Christy Ramos, POC President from 96 to 99. Ma'am, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start at the beginning, ma'am. The Games, before they even really began, got off to a bit of a rough start, and you were quoted as saying that this is normal practice, standard practice for a private group led by politicians to be in charge. But, and here we quote you saying, it's done everywhere, but the problem is, and I truly believe this, that you had incompetent people, they had no inkling, they had no idea whatsoever what goes into this thing. What exactly did you mean here?
Okay, I think it really needs to be clarified that all the sports bodies are actually private entities. So they're
You're talking about the National Sports Association?
Yes, not only that, but also the International Olympic Committee, the Olympic Council of Asia, which manages the Asian Games, and down the line, the Southeast Asian Games Federation, which really manages and owns the Southeast Asian Games. And in all these events, really, the designated authority is the National Olympic Committee. So you have the Philippines, is the Philippine Olympic Committee, and the POC, and together with the ruling bodies for the various sports, the National Sports Associations, they are really private entities. So it is really the authority of the POC which should be followed here. And it is really up to the Philippine Olympic Committee to designate the organizing committee for this event. And of course, it happens everywhere, meaning if you would have the Tokyo Olympics next year, they would also designate an organizing committee. So this would be the Japan Olympic Committee to do that.
Headed by a politician or a former politician?
The organizing committee is being headed by the former Prime Minister of Japan. But the naming or the forming of this group really emanates from the Tokyo Olympic Committee group, which is...
So politicians are there, and like you
yes.
said, standard practice all over. The politicians
Yes.
are there because, they help facilitate coordination with the government. After all, if you're going to
Yes.
put on such a big event as this, you do need the government of any host country.
Yeah, that's true, because you also have a lot of infrastructure, and you have to be concerned with transportation security, the venues themselves, because many of them are really public owned.
Okay, but what is the problem here? What happened here?
I think largely also because of the internal politics of the Philippine Olympic Committee. So way back 2012 or so, the members of the Philippine Olympic Committee, which is composed of the National Sports Associations, already were clamoring for change. I think this internal politicking and the problems within also caused some delays in the preparations for the Southeast Asian
And had
Games.
some impact, of course.
Yes,
That's why we had
yes,
these missteps early on. Just like, for example, when teams were arriving and there were problems in transportation, lodging, hotels.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about how we have this gold medal haul now, and people began to feel a little bit better about the SEA Games when the games actually started. But now the focus is on, and people have begun to ask, what are we going to do? When are we going to have an honest-to-goodness sports program that will make our athletes better, stronger, faster, so that we can go after that elusive Olympic gold? What is it that we need to do?
Okay, we really need to go back to the basics, meaning we have to really push and introduce physical education classes down, I believe, from kindergarten to sixth grade.
But we always had PE back in grade school.
Yes,
but
but now apparently it's not a priority. In fact, I think they divided the PE classes with two other classes, music and arts. So if you divide 1 hour divided by 3, you're not going to get much physical education time. And really, maybe the problem with our bodies, the nature of our bodies, is that it has slow muscular memory. So meaning, you have to already train when you're young, because a lot of the skills, for example, walking, jumping, running, throwing, are really skills used for sports. And you've got to do this very repetitive.
Yeah. If you talk to educators nowadays, they always say how important movement, physical movement is, how important physical exercise is to help develop the brain also.
Yes, exactly. And
Diba?
I think that,
and they have a lot, you know, they do a lot of, for example, there is a student who is challenged, they make the student do physical exercises.
yes, exactly. But I think it's not going beyond the medal counts. If we engage in physical activities, it really relates to our physical fitness and health.
Right.
And this is an objective that you can really push for the 110 million Filipinos instead of saying, you know, go into sports because you're going to win a gold medal. But if you say go into sports because you're going to be more fit, you have better health, you can
Right.
work longer hours,
Right.
you pay less medicine, you don't have to go
So
to
this
the
is
hospital.
preventive medicine
Yes.
rather than curative.
Exactly.
Oh.
But there is a
Yeah.
direct relation to
Right.
sporting involvement or sporting activities.
And like you said, no, for example, PE in school, if we take a serious look at our curriculum, if we not just treat it as an addition, no, but treat it as a major component.
Yes,
of,
maybe as
of our
important as
education
math and
curriculum. Yeah.
science.
And it is.
Yes,
right.
should be.
It should be. I mean,
Should
hindi lang
be.
pwede your
That's right. So
Oo.
it has to be, you know, a total development of the individual, you know, mental, physical, psychological.
All right, okay. And a real, honest to goodness, like I was saying, sports program for
That's
our
right.
athletes. Well, thank you very much, Christy Ramos, former Philippine Olympic Committee President, 1996 and 1999. Thank you, ma'am, for being
Thank
here.
you. My pleasure.
We're taking a quick break. Politics as usual. Be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Politics as usual. With us now in the studio, former SEA Games chef de mission and now president of the Gymnastics Association of the Philippines, Cynthia Carreon, and on the phone, former Philippine Sports Commission president, now Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association chairman, Mr. Popoy Wico. We're going to speak first to Mr. Wico. Sir Popoy, thank you very much for joining us on the phone.
Hi, thank you for giving me a chance to join your program.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, the last time we talked before the games began, you said it was very important that there be no more missteps, and there were none, thankfully. Right, sir?
Well, I think there were no major.
Major.
At the ground level, there will be some, but tolerable. That's understandable given the size of the event and the magnitude of the event. No?
Okay. And we did pretty well, did we?
Well, in our field, no? So the games, we were all told to submit our so-called projections, and we said we're going from 6 to 8 and
6 to 8.
10. 6 to 10. Right now we're 1-9, and there are 3 more events where we think we can get 2 of the 3 we can get a gold medal, 2 gold medal each.
What events are these, sir, where you think you can get more gold medals?
2 more. That's the decathlon and the 400-meter men hurdles, high hurdles.
Okay.
Low hurdles, rather.
And I guess you're happy about like EJ Obiena, Christina Knott, for example.
All those works of hard work, and that when we quartered them in Lingayen, Pangasinan for 6-7 months, paid off. And all of those trips, all of those expenses, all of the weeping and gnashing of teeth, and the harsh words, they're now bearing fruit.
So those months, like you were saying, those months of training, for example, all the months of hard work had paid off. But of course, we're not just talking about preparing for the SEA Games. We're talking about having, you know, like homegrown athletes with an honest-to-goodness sports program that we can be really proud of, so that we can, you know, so that we can have athletes that are better, stronger, and faster, and can compete really for the Olympic gold.
Well, yes, of course. You have to have that base, no? You have to develop the base, and you have to get our young men and women, all of us, to develop an early commitment to physical activity at a very early age. Get them interested, and not just in one sport, but in several sports, and then they choose their specialization. No? But you know, to get them involved in as many.
okay.
sports as possible.
And not only just for the medals, but also because involvement in sports means better physical health, for example. And of course, the collateral benefit here is that you have better mental health, better emotional health because you're into sports.
Well, I agree with you. And during my time in Motown, we prepared the master plan for Philippine sports. It was the basic principle that was followed. Start from PE. We start from PE and then we work ourselves up to the high-performance elite sports level.
All right. We'd like to thank Popoy Wico there speaking to us. And here in the studio, Ms. Cynthia Carreon. Ma'am, thank you very much for coming back to the show.
My pleasure.
2 weeks ago when we were talking, at that time we had those missteps, major or minor, whatever we want to call them, even before the games began. But things have been turning out pretty well. We have this gold medal haul. Of course, it helps that we're hosting, I guess, ma'am. No?
But you know, those missteps were when I was also an official and I traveled. I also waited for 3 hours. We didn't complain. I mean, that's the way it is.
So let's focus on our athletes. I mean, thankfully they did so well, and so many people are saying, they're so proud of them that, and also, corollarily, that we should do more for them, right?
Definitely. You can see this time they will really help them. Philippine Sports Commission spent a lot of money to train outside. You see the outcome? He spent a lot of money training outside. All my athletes all went abroad and to train to make sure that we are ready for this. And that's what Malaysia did too.
Right.
That's why they won, because they all trained very well.
Yeah, and speaking of the athletes, of course, the standout, Carlos Yulo.
Yes. And now we're really training for the Olympics. I mean, a lot of people want to interview him, but he says no. He's a very shy man, and he wants to focus on the Olympics, really. And even now, the Watanabe, the federation president, for the first time came to the Philippines to watch the games. How they never do it, but now they did. And he said, he talked to Kaloy. Kaloy, you're a world champion. You should have won 7 gold medals. But he said, sir, I'm not used to the noise.
Yes.
He turned around and told
right.
everybody to keep
Because
quiet.
in the Olympics, for example, or other games, tahimik so that they can concentrate.
Yes. And then
it is unnerving, It is unnerving. You're trying to, like you're holding on, for example, to the rings,
Yes. They're shouting. That's why he even covered his face. When he walked out, he covered his face so that he's very shy.
He was interviewed by our Pauline Versosa. One of the things he said was, medyo nahirapan nga daw siya, there are challenges in equipment, but we are going to get that for these young people, right?
Yes.
What do we need to do so that we can give them what they need?
Yes, now I think gymnastics is finally out in the open. Before, when I used to ask for money for gymnastics, gymnastics.
Talaga?
Yeah, they don't want to. What's that sport?
But it's one of the most beautiful sports to watch in the Olympics, for example, or any other sport.
And the girls also.
Yes,
so
also.
I didn't have enough money, so I just concentrated in the men's gymnastics. I forgot already the women's, the art, because I have 5 disciplines in gymnastics. There's the rhythmic, there's the trampoline, there's the sports aero, there's the women's artistic, there's the men's artistic. So when I saw Kaloy, I concentrated on him. That's the money that I only have is for him. So
Okay. Are you hoping that we do have a very solid sports program that will make our athletes better, stronger, faster?
Yes, that's wonderful. You know that we're putting up a sports academy. The sports academy is fantastic because they're going to study there because they feel education is very important. They're going to study and they're going to train at the same place, like Japan has, which is wonderful. So that will be coming up 2020 very soon.
Like 2020?
Yes,
That's
and we
next
already
year,
have the
okay.
we have already have the space also in Clark, acres and acres of land.
Okay.
They're planning it.
Well, ma'am, Cynthia Carreon, thank you very much for being with us
Thank
tonight.
you very
Maraming
much
salamat
for
po.
asking me again. And
Yes. Well, we hope to see you again. We'll see you again.
thank you.
We're taking another quick break. Politics as usual. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Politics as Usual. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Joining us now is Mayor Michael Kion of Lawag City, Ilocos Norte. But we're not talking politics tonight, but sports. Mayor Kion was executive director, is that correct, of Gintong Alay. It was a Marcos-era sports program. Mayor Kion, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Pia.
Good
Thank you
afternoon.
for having me.
Yes. Well, sir, a lot of the, I would say some of the nostalgia, no, for lack of a better word, about the time of President Marcos was the Gintong Alay sports program. And every time we have a huge sporting event, especially when we host one like the SEA Games, a lot of people remember Gintong Alay. Can you tell us a little bit about that? There's a whole generation that is not familiar with that. What was it about Gintong Alay that helped develop all these homegrown Filipino athletes?
Well, Pia, Gintong Alay was created in October 31, 1979 through letter of instruction number 955. Originally, it was a track program, and then it expanded to track and field. And because of our success in track and field, it eventually became the umbrella sports organization taking over from the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. So Gintong Alay, its name, Golden Offering, was an apt expression of what we wanted to do. We wanted to offer gold medals to the country. So what we did was it essentially was an indigenous sports program. We did not have imports from overseas. They were tunay na Filipino, the athletes are. And we really looked on the grassroots level. And what we did initially was to build a track and field camp in Teachers Camp in Baguio City. And we did well in the sense that until now, there are records that have not been broken, that are records that are as old as 35 years. Now, Christina Knott the other day broke Lydia's 200-meter record, but it took 33 years for that to be broken. And this shows you how advanced the program was at that time. Pia, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Duterte administration and the organizer of the SEA Games. They've done a very, very good job. But having said that, I'd just like to point out that in 2005, when we last won the SEA Games, and yours truly was the national training director, there was only 30 sports. This time, there are 56 sports. So there are almost double the sports. So, syempre, there would be a greater opportunity to win more gold medals this time than last time. But despite saying that, the overall performance of the Philippine team has really been very good. Despite all the
challenges, no? And limitations.
The mishaps which occurred before the start of the games, the games itself has been a success.
So now the next question is, what is it that we need so that we can come out with a truly genuine sports program that'll not only go after gold medals or bronzes or silvers, but will go after physical development so that people will understand that sports is a very integral part of the human development?
Well, the problem with Philippine sports is that it always goes round in circles. We tend to go up and down, and we tend to go round and round. In 1981, when we first hosted the games, we were third place. In 1983 in Singapore, we were second place, and I believe that was the best performance that the Philippine team has had in the Southeast Asian Games overseas. Then in 1991, we lost the overall championship by 1 gold medal. In 2005, we won the overall championship. Now in 2019, we've won the overall championship. However, what will happen in the next 2 years? Now that we've done this, the question is, can we
sustain this, no?
institutionalize this success? Can we institutionalize this success that we have in the SEA Games and build ourselves up to become a true sports power, not just in Southeast Asia, but in Asia? And remember, Pia, that the Philippines is one of the few countries left in the world that has not won an Olympic gold medal.
Right.
Having
Right.
said that, I believe that sports like gymnastics and boxing, everyone knows about the performance of Carlos Yulo
Right.
in the World Championships. He looks like he is a potential Olympic gold medalist. I believe we have a potential Olympic gold medalist in boxing and maybe even in taekwondo and the other martial arts. But whether we can actually create a real honest-to-goodness sports program which addresses all the problems in sport year-round, I'm not sure. Maybe a new department of sports needs to be created. Maybe they need to create a sports institute. I'm not sure.
Well, Mayor Michael Kion, former executive director of Gintong Alay program during the Marcos administration. He was, of course, your uncle. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, sir.
Maraming salamat, Pia. Thank you also. Good day.
And thank you to our viewers for watching Politics as Usual. I'm Pia Hontiveros.